Welcome to Market Like a Hotshot, Jeff the Show. James Feudum.
Episode
17.
17.
17.
Love it.
She's only 17. Winger. Remember Winger?
Yeah.
Back in the 80s?
And that song didn't age well. When I when I see lists of hairband songs that don't
Yeah.
age well, that one's always at the top. And I think Kip Winger recently admitted he's like, even it creeps me out too when he gets.
I know. It's a weird song to be singing at the top of your lungs when you're driving down Route 9. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was under 17 when that came out. So
Me
it was
too.
okay.
I was like 10, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I met Kip Winger once in Boston at the Bark and Crab.
Oh, that's really cool.
It was really wild because I went to him and I was like, dude, you look like Kip Winger. He's like, I am Kip Winger, with less hair. He had less hair. He didn't
Yeah.
have the big puff like the 80s puff. So,
That's
but you
too
know,
funny.
17 is a cool number, man. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. We're talking about something that we know, you know, dear and dear, because you're doing it yourself for your
Right,
company,
right.
right? Scaling like a hotshot. How to scale like a hotshot. This is really geared towards solopreneurs. I mean, you can even if you're a small small business. How do you
Right.
scale? Because you know, what's the percentage of small businesses that are run by solopreneurs? What do you think it is?
It's got to be huge. I mean, how often it's funny because whether we're at a networking event, one of your events, a chamber event, any really business networking event I've been to, I'd say like 60% of the people there.
I
at
say
least.
more than that.
Yeah.
Because you'll be surprised. You know, and we could count side hustles, folks that work in corporate and they have, they work their job 9 to 5, they work their dream 5 to 9. That could be a solopreneur, but
Right.
there's quite a few out there that's all they do. And you know, you go on Alignable, you go to a networking event, you meet, a lot of times it's solopreneurs.
Right. I mean, even last night. So we were at Venture Café last night.
Cambridge,
so-
man.
Yeah, it was fun.
The brains of the world, Kendall Square. You took a picture of yourself.
I did.
You did a selfie. You'll have to show the selfie later.
We'll have to post it on our social. I'll
so,
take it over to.
But you know, most of us start solo. So
Right.
why don't we talk about your story? So I know we talked about the journey way back in episode 1, but
Mhm.
kind of summarizing, you know, you're a solopreneur and now you have a team. So how was your, like when you were a marketer for your company, you're doing sales, you were doing the books.
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, you were building the sites. What's some of the things that you learned over time?
Learned a lot of different things related to it, but the first thing is that it wasn't a direct path from like A to B, right?
Yeah.
Like when you scale, you think that there's a methodology to it, and there is a little bit of it,
Yeah.
but every business is different, right?
Of course, it depends on if it's a services business versus a product or
Yeah.
brick and mortar. You know, we could focus mostly on service businesses where
Right.
you're an advisor and expert in your business domain, right? You could be a great accountant, you could be a great software developer, you could be a great marketer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many agencies, right? In AMA Boston, I think half the members are some sort of an agency, right?
Yeah.
Marketing agency.
A lot of them are, and I mean, when I started to scale, the timing of it wasn't ideal, and that was probably my biggest problem is I wasn't really sure how I should scale. So, I brought this up. Someone asked a question during the live show about scaling, and what I did is I thought, okay, I'm cranking out websites. I want
That's
more
cool.
websites to do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So, like, what do I do? I'm like, oh, let me get a salesperson. So,
So, do you think in salesperson first? And we'll go into some hotshot tactics very soon because there's
Yeah.
a little structure to it. But I want to, like, even what AIMC Business Solutions, right? When I first started, same thing, website development, and
right.
I was like, okay, how can I scale, right? So, I started hiring interns. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About 15 years ago. And, I had 4 or 5 interns working for me. They're all Northeastern Huskies grads. But I felt myself capped.
Mhm.
And that's the big thing when you're a solopreneur. You only can do so much, right?
Right.
You can only have so many customers.
Yeah.
So,
And that's where it gets a little on the tricky side. So, in retrospect, I didn't do it the right way. I did, I brought in a salesperson, then, I brought on another developer, and what I lacked when I did all of this stuff is that I didn't really have a lot of systems in place.
Yeah, it was just a rush. It was like shoot from the hip, right?
Yeah.
It was shoot from the hip. And you were you turning down clients?
I was, but not because of capacity. It was for other reasons. But
Other reasons, yeah.
yeah, I mean, we could have one of the things I figured out is I'm like, oh, we have this. We have this capacity to do this, this, and this, and we weren't as efficient as we needed to be. So it wasn't. I mean, technically, I guess it was capacity, but in my mind, it's like we should have been able to handle more than we were handling, and we were getting things done on time, but we should have been way, way ahead.
Yeah, and it goes back to systems, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And and that's why I think I'm going to divert a little bit. A lot of solopreneurs end up partnering with a franchise organization.
Mm-hmm.
Some do network marketing, and they do that. Why? Because the systems are in place.
They're already there, and
They're
they just
already
have to
there.
go out and sign people up.
Yeah, you're basically an affiliate,
Right.
or you're a broker. But that's another whole business model that we can talk about another day. But
Right.
but let's talk about you're done with corporate, like you were right in 2021. You're like I'm finished, and you're trying to run your business. Now, we have many podcasts about distinguishing yourself in branding. You should see the branding like a Hotshot. If you're a solopreneur, definitely check out that episode. But how about the consistency? That's a big word as a solopreneur. How did you stay consistent?
What I did is I did Lean Six Sigma when I worked at my corporate job.
Give me nightmares. I'm recruiting a Scrum Master role right now. Come on, Scrum Master, Six Sigma.
I know all those terms come out there, but Lean Six Sigma is like doing things more efficiently. Lean is eliminating waste. Six Sigma is more of a process improvement. So I've always had that mindset. Now, in your career, you probably did stuff like that as well, right?
All right, so I have a pretty funny story. So I used to work for a hospital, not to be named, right? I was the director of IT there, and we were doing Six Sigma.
Yep.
But it was on paper.
Oh, wow.
Paper. So we had these boards all over the hospital with all these written processes.
Yep.
And then updates, and it was tracking. It's think of a dashboard in 1953 versus 2015. So yeah, that's my experience with Six Sigma online.
And for our listeners and viewers, should we explain Six Sigma a little bit?
Yeah, tell me what is Six Sigma?
Because when I talk to
it's not a six-pack of beer, is
I
it?
know. Six Sigma. Yeah, that actually would be kind of a cool brand name for
Six Sigma. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our idea. We should trademark that before someone goes
market
out
like a
and
hot
uses it.
shot. Six Sigma. So what is Six Sigma?
So the whole point of Lean Six Sigma is, for example, a pizza place. Let's say you're in a room where you make pizzas, and I like using this as an example because it's easy for me to visualize. But maybe you have a refrigerator with your dough here, you have your prep table over here, your toppings are over here, you get your slip over here that tells you what to go on it.
Yep.
And if you go through the Lean Six Sigma process, what you'll figure out is how to, arrange the space so that you're getting you're getting your recipe or your order.
Yep.
And then you grab your dough, and then you put your dough on the thing. You add your sauce on the pan. Then you add the cheese, and you add your toppings, and
It's like a process.
Yeah,
right?
it's like an assembly line. Organizing the assembly line.
Yeah, it's and then there's another knowing when it's time to scale is knowing your vision. So we talk about capacity, consistency. In this case, you're visualizing a delicious pizza.
No, and I'm starving too. I didn't have lunch today.
This is another, all right, being healthy like a hot shot. We're going to have a future episode on that. I'm going to be talking to this boy about eating lunch.
Health like a hot shot.
Healthy
That's
like
what we're
a
going to
healthful.
have.
Exactly.
We'll do that
So
episode.
knowing, so the solopreneur, just to recap a little bit, wearing every hat. So we'll talk about tactics in a minute to kind of divert from that. Building understanding your capacity, being consistent,
Right.
and then of course your vision. Because I think everyone that owns a business today should build a vision board.
Yeah.
Without
I
a
agree.
doubt. If you're a solopreneur, you have to have a written vision board and have it in your office, whether it's a office at home, your
Mhm.
kitchen, wherever, your shed, wherever you have your office. It's got to be there with your vision board, because you got to look at that every day and say, okay, this is where I want to go. How do I get there, right? So
And you've seen my vision board, right?
it's a Lamborghini.
Yes.
So what does that have to do with digital marketing? A Lamborghini, right?
No, I have one at home that to your point, I really should bring in here and leave it in my office here instead of my home
You should look at
office.
that every day. You should
Yeah.
look at that car and say, you're going to own it. It's not some dream.
Yeah.
So, or they call them dream boards, right? I always think of dreams, are they achievable? They're
Right.
achievable, but that's your goal. That's where
Goals
you
are
want to get.
dreams with a deadline.
Exactly. So that's a great tip
Robbins.
right there.
Yeah.
Is having that deadline. A market like a Hotshot, we're just getting started with that. We have a dream. We have a goal to get to 100 episodes, right, within 2 years, have guests, and also I want everybody out there to get themselves a beautiful Market Like a Hotshot t-shirt.
Oh yeah, we got merch.
Or if it's getting cold here in New England, we have the hoodie sweatshirts, man.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, marketlikeahotshot.com. So, it's not about doing more, and this is I know this is a problem, right?
Right.
And I knew this as a manager of people, and now even with my presidency at AMA Boston, right? I need to learn to step back a little bit, right?
Mhm.
You can't do it all, because you know what happens?
You get burned out.
You don't sleep,
Right.
right? And
Been there.
I get it out there, nobody does it as good as you do, right?
Right.
So, but you've made some changes in the past year.
I've made a lot of changes.
Expand on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of efficiency, we have things like we have standard operating procedures that we created. We have processes. We have templates. We have figured out ways to make things easy to do. We have automation. Like we use that in our accounting. There's so many things that we go in there. I built our CRM. I can go on and
Is
on.
it better than Salesforce? Come on.
No, of course not.
Come on, it is better than Salesforce.
Well, for me,
so
it works
mindset. You got to change your mindset.
Yeah.
It's better
And-
than Salesforce.
But for us, it
Yeah,
does things
it
that
does what it's supposed
Salesforce
to.
wouldn't be able to do and such. But it's things like that. You have to go through the process though of growing. Of your mindset has to be in the right area too. So you sometimes have to go through these challenges in order to really figure out how your business is supposed to be
You
run.
make the mistakes. So
Yeah, and that's why you have to wear all those hats.
initially.
Yeah.
You got to understand the process. So one of the, we have a few practical steps to scale here. The first one we started jumping into already,
Yeah.
Being systemized, right?
Right.
So get it, before you hire a salesperson, before you decide to grow, build your processes first. I know it's administrative. I
It's
know
not fun, not
it's
sexy.
not making you money, but having that baseline to start your business. So if you decide to start a business today, right? Like this weekend, it's Friday today.
Yeah.
Rare Friday that we're doing this, by the way. It's
I
usually
know.
Wednesdays.
That's why.
So, write down the processes. Like, are you selling vitamins? All right.
Yeah.
What's the whole process? What's your website? What's the distribution channel? What's the customer interaction? What's the customer success? Understand that whole process first and systemize it, like you do, right, with websites.
Right. I mean, the way people put it is that, and the advice we give people too, is that write it down so that if you handed it to someone else, they could follow the steps without having
Yeah,
to
you
ask
want to take a vacation, dude.
Yeah.
Right? You want to drive the Ferrari
Yeah.
down in Miami Beach or somewhere else.
See all our friends in Florida?
Yeah, say shout out to the epic folks down in
Yeah.
South Florida. But yeah, so you want to you have those systems down. You even have your social media and digital marketing automated, right? Well, we're going to talk about automation in a little bit,
Right.
but understand what
Yeah.
platforms you want to build on. So,
But I have a perfect story about that because a few months ago, and we're going to shout out to Izzy,
Woo!
our intern. We had some interns over the summer start. Izzy was one of them, and she's the one that helps us out right now with Market Like a Hotshot. So
She's actually running this from UMass Amherst. Right
She
now.
is. It's wild.
We're in Framingham. She's about 100 miles
she's like
west
an
of
hour and a half away
She's
from us.
right there,
Yeah, but I mean, I had to work with some other interns, and I gave her a couple documents to read, and then so when it was my turn to get to her, I'm like, Izzy, let's do you have any questions? And she's like, no, I read the standard operating procedures. I read your posting calendar. I'm ready to go. I've got some ideas and things like that. And I'm like, a lot of it was on her,
Yeah.
but the fact that we had that stuff in place, it made it a lot easier for her. So, I mean, it's not that every person's going to pick up those things and run with it like that. I mean, Izzy, along with the rest of the team I had this summer, were unbelievable.
Yeah, you guys did really well this summer.
Yeah, we
Love
had a
those
great
TikTok videos.
team. Yeah, and they did a good job with everything. But to your point on the systems, right? Like, because you did the same thing with your networking events.
I did that. We have a heck of a system right now. Like my emails look the same. Everything looks the same because it's a system.
Yeah.
It's all template driven. But I'm going to go back a little bit, right? What was our previous careers?
Oh, in IT?
Talk about systemizing things.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
And if you didn't systemize things, what happens?
It will blow up, coming from a programming background, I know you did this as well, without having coding standards. Oh, my goodness. Like,
even support standards.
Right.
Like if you're in IT, you probably can relate to this. And I talk, when I was in support, which is going back 25 years ago, my dreaded noise was hearing the Nextel phone going. Because this is reactive IT, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing in business. Like you don't want to be in react mode in your business, so that's why you want to have systems in place.
Yeah.
Right. So that way you're not in reactive mode when things happen.
And it's funny because back 20-something years ago, same boat as you, I had a pager, back in the day.
Pager.
Remember
Beep,
the
beep,
beepers?
beep, 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 beep.
And we had, whenever a server would go down, and I remember like every Friday night at 9 o'clock or whatever time it was, we had the server that would go off. So I would call, if I had plans that night, I would actually call our operations team and say, this might fail at this time of night. This is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like this, now we have automation and all this other
Yeah,
stuff.
we're
right?
going to talk about automation.
But I mean, what we ended up doing is when we realized this thing was going to fail anyway and we needed to reboot the server, we started doing reboots to, prevent that from going. But like that was a system and it was a standard that we added.
Yeah, talk about, I want to have a good reactive mode, right? So this is like Jeff's single days before marriage days. I was out partying down in Providence. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I got paged.
Oh my goodness.
At 2:30 in the morning. And they were surprised. What are you still doing up?
I know.
But I was at this breakfast place, down in Rhode Island, in Providence. After the clubs closed, there's a bunch of breakfast places that are open until 5, 6 in the morning. I don't know if that's still the case today. So I'm here. I'm on a payphone saying, press the button. It was a tape issue.
Oh, my
Take
goodness.
the tape out. Press the button. And finally these people are like, what the heck are you talking? Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
And you think about reactive and no systems. There was no system. So when you build your business, that's important. So you don't want to have those 2:30 in the morning reactive phone calls. In this case, it could be texts or whatever. So good. I think we hit that one home.
Yeah.
Systemizing. So now we're in the age of AI. Automate. And everyone thinking AI is stealing people's jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But really, all the AI is making things easier. Right? So it's some automating. All right, so we'll go back to JVF a little bit. How are you automating some of your systemized tasks?
There's a number of things that we do on the digital marketing side. We can automate, when we do a new blog post, we publish more content. We have quite a few sites that automatically gets posted to social media. So we have that set up to automatically do that. A lot of people use Instagram and Facebook. That's another one that, you can set up your Instagram account to automatically post to Facebook.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these
I hate Facebook. Did I tell you that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all right,
Well,
never mind.
Yeah, you and I think, have vented a lot about.
It was, sorry to divert. It's a Friday afternoon.
Meta is, it's my least favorite company.
I know, right? But anyways, so you're automating, digital marketing is a given. You have to do that unless you want to be on these sites all day, right? How about like collecting money? So you're running a business. You're doing the business for money. At the end of the day, you're making money. So how about invoicing? I have a great tool like broker. It's called Thrive. They have a great invoicing platform. But what do you use?
Yeah, I have, we use an invoicing platform as well, and what that does is I go in, I put in the invoice. You know, something that we're starting to do, we're rolling out now, we should have done it sooner, but we're starting to roll it out, is that it will automatically deduct from like our monthly and our quarterly clients.
Yeah.
So I don't have to keep like chasing them down, but it's cool because if I don't,
their credit card numbers.
right, but like,
Yeah.
you know, if and we don't want to store them, it gets stored in the system,
No,
which is
because then you
nice.
have issues with
Yeah,
Oh.
they go in and they fill it into. It's kind of like payroll too. We have that all stored outside of our infrastructure, but it's good because it will send out invoices, and then it'll send reminders out, and then if it's not paid, it starts sending overdue notices.
It's all automated.
Yeah, it's all automated.
Yeah,
And then it's like, you know, I call someone up and I'm like, by the way, you're going to pay this thing? My accounting department is freaking, you know. And, you know, like sometimes it works too good where, you know, it.
So, you know, against the system, right? So, and then there's another big thing, like I said, you already built it, your CRM system. So, you know, you're not going to be able to, you know, doing a drip campaign or anything like that. Do you do anything like that where you know, reach out to your existing customers or your potential customers?
Yeah, I mean, some of that is automated. We still have more that we like to automate, but it's one of those areas where the human touch to me is very important when dealing with clients and dealing with leads. And a lot of the clients that we're working with now are not very AI. I mean, they'll use AI, but they like the human touch. They prefer speaking to a human than getting a lot of these AI messages generated out.
Yeah, you can tell with the emojis everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we see them on LinkedIn all the time.
But, you know, again, to scale like a Hotshot, right? You got to automate repetitive tasks, right? You have to free your time from stuff you do every day, especially administrative stuff. So if you're, you know, solopreneurs, they have you know, they have a knowledge of something, you know, whether it's engineering, finance, tech, health, you know, and all that, right? But you start getting bogged down with these repetitive tasks. That's where the system and the automation. Now, here's the real tough one. We're hitting another one.
That's striking a nerve. I know which one you're talking about.
Delegation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we all, like, solopreneurs as employees of one, right?
Yep.
It's very hard to hire employees today, right? So when we say delegation, it could be partners, it could be contractors, it could be friends, it could be whatever. So what's I've noticed you started to delegate a little bit more, though.
I am.
You're able to go to networking events. Finally.
I know. Like, well, that's the thing. I mean, I have been blessed with an incredible team. So, you know, I talked about the interns, SF Liani, who does a lot of our graphic design work.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to be able to do this, but like, you know, we have a client that we started, you know, I've started offloading some of the stuff I would do personally over to her, and she's killing it. She's getting everything done right away. It's like, you know, I'll ask her, I'm like, did you work on this project? And she's like, it's all done. Like, sometimes she'll text me and say, by the way, I finished this a couple hours ago, just so you're aware.
And I'm like, thanks. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's great because, you know, and I want to shout out to Liani. She's been phenomenal to work with, but it took a while to get there, though.
So it built, you know, what it is, you ended up building a shared vision, right? And complementary skills with, you know, with your team. So, and this is where I know it's hard, right? Because being in recruiting, it's like you're a recruit great talent that has the same mindset as you, the same vision as you. I always say you need to take a 6-hour trip in a car with type of person that you trust. Yeah. You know, those are hard. So that's where I can help recruiting. But it's that's big. When you use now. You know, they're not necessarily employees. They have to be employees because there's a lot of tax implications with having employees and rules and all that. So it could be partners. If you have a trusted partner, you know, I really suggest that. You're not going to do everything yourself.
You know, there's a lot of people that, and in fact, a lot of our competitors work this way where, you know, the person that's running the business is actually just selling whatever their service is. And then they have they'll offshore if it's something technical like, web design, marketing, branding, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or, they work with multiple partners or resources throughout the country, wherever they're located. But delegation's really difficult for a lot of us to take that step. And I shared this story with you. I spent a Saturday morning, and I want to say it was like 2-3 hours, going through everything that I did in the last 2 months. I went through my calendar, went through my emails. I listed everything out, and then I put next to it either why I'm not delegating or why I feel like I can't.
Yeah.
And I took that data and came up with a list of reasons.
Yeah.
And of course, they all had common things. It was either related to trust, access, things like that, skill set of, and that helped me move to the next level because I'm like, all right, I can address those things.
Yeah.
Didn't you run into that as well when you started bringing on people?
I did. And luckily, again, I had some trustworthy folks, but
Yeah.
I actually made the decision to stop that model because it kind of capped my growth, right? Unless I wanted to have 50 employees. So then I started partnering with companies, right? Instead, that have the resources.
Yeah.
So that way, I could focus on the last tip, focusing on growth activities, right? So being the cheerleader of your business, to be out there, speaking engagements, right? And, your business development. So you have the system. A lot of it's automated. Yeah. You've delegated tasks as a solopreneur. You're doing all this stuff as part of your business. Now you're having fun.
Yeah.
Really. Think about it. Last night, Venture, man.
What
Venture
a
Café.
blast. I loved it.
You're not out there building code. You're not doing this. You're not doing your billing and all. That's all automated, right?
Yeah.
Now you're out there. And this is another, if you want to scale, right, do a speaking engagement. Get out there and speak to, your target customer at conferences. Because if you're a resident expert at what you do, you already got everything, your business is running kind of behind the scenes, and you're doing that. I suggest that right away, right?
Yeah, I had 2 speaking engagements, I think, last week, or within the last week. I can't keep track anymore. What day? It's a Friday afternoon, right?
It's a Friday afternoon in framing. Yeah.
We need more energy.
We need those awake energies, right?
Yeah, we need all of that stuff.
All on mycart.com.
But to your point, the speaking engagements are good, and it helps you learn it because you start getting asked questions, and then that makes you prepare better and therefore extend your knowledge base.
Yeah, and you may adjust your systems too at the end of the day and do some re-automating. But, and then you're not in the weeds anymore. So, and this could apply not only for solopreneurs, but even small businesses that may have 10 or 15 employees. And you see the CEO really getting in the weeds, doing contracts and, even interviewing candidates if they're in recruiting or they're building a website or they're producing a product. It's always good to understand it, but at some point you need to let go, right? And you're not in that day-to-day weeds. You want to be out doing partnerships, doing leadership activities and all. So that's that's a lot there. Systemizing, automating, delegating, and then having fun, right? The biz dev. So scaling like a hotshot. Wow. So, and the human side is scaling, right?
Yeah.
It could be uncomfortable. So you already mentioned that a few times about you were a little uncomfortable, letting go, right?
Yeah. And it's tough because, and I see stuff and I'm like, it's not the way I would have done it.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy because it's like
You're not in control of every detail anymore.
Yeah, I'm not in control of every detail, but what I like about it, and I have to step back and remember this, is that they got it 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
I just had to bring it the final 10, which is better than me doing 100%.
Yeah.
And that's, first it was 50%, then it was 75, right?
Yeah, exactly. Good. And then, your values, defining your values early, that's a big one, right?
That's very important.
Yeah, just like the systems and, I'm backing the boss up a little, the dream board, your values, the systems. Because then that's when you start hiring and working, partnering with people to have that.
And having a culture is really important as well. Like all of that stuff together is what defines your business's culture.
Yeah.
And that in turn helps you when you're trying to recruit new people because, we talked about this at one of the events we were at last week, right? Someone asked me the question, would you take skills over culture? And I'm like, any day, if, all things the same, you can teach people the skills. If they don't fit into the culture.
They got to get along. Interaction is really key.
If they're not going to work well with others on the team, it's kind of like, if you remember Major League 2, right?
Major League 2.
They brought in this
Let's
great...
Let's not talk about baseball today. Those Red Sox, man. Wait till next year, right? Go Blue Jays.
Yeah. No, but like in Major League 2, they bring in this... this veteran that's a very good player, but he doesn't get along with the team, and it hurts the team.
Yeah.
And that's a good example of what sometimes happens. I've seen it happen in corporate. It's a bad hire. Sometimes they get through the interview process, they get started, and either they're not what you expected them to be, or you're not what they expected it to be.
Yeah, we've seen that so many times. At the end of the day, when you're scaling from a solopreneur, it's it's a mindset and a method.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're bringing people on board that have that same mindset as you, right? And focusing on your highest value is really big, right? And empowering others, and that's a great job empowering your team because it's it's Friday and you can actually probably see your family, and this is the other part of being a solopreneur. I've met so many that they work 80, 100 hours a week, right? And this goes back to, time is like a tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Before you know it, you're 50, you're 60. I'm almost 60, right? And it's like, am I old or what, huh?
Yeah.
But, time is just like ticking away. And the next thing you know, right, if you have kids, they get old, they're out, they live somewhere else.
Yeah.
You got to have family time. And this is another thing with solopreneurs, building all this stuff, systemizing, automating, delegating is going to allow you to have those quality times with your family and friends.
Yeah.
Because, because remember, why, and this will probably end it right here, why in the beginning did you start this business? If you really think about your vision and your dream board, why did you start it?
For me, I wanted to create something. I wanted to create something that I was passionate about, that when I look back at my life, I'm like, wow, I built something and it helped people out. It's not always about me.
Yeah.
And
helping others.
Yeah, it really is. And I've seen that a few times. Like, the room next door, we call it the bullpen.
The bullpen.
That's where
I actually worked in the bullpen.
That's where you were working today, but I get kind of sad when I go through that because that's where the interns were all summer.
Yeah.
And I come down and they're not goofing off, but they're they're having a good time and they're joking and they're like, all right, we got to see this. We want to show you this. They created a brand book that they wanted us to start using. They just together they created something. And you see the way they interact with each other, the relationships that they're developing between each other. And I just kind of step back and I'm like, wow, this is like, the company is more than me.
Yeah.
And that's really when you take that leap from solopreneur to small business.
Company, small business and all.
Yeah, you see that you created something. And for me, the first time that really happened, though, was downstairs maybe 2 years ago now when we had that big event. And I'm like, holy crap, we had like 60 people show up.
You wore a suit and tie, too.
Yeah, I had my suit and tie on.
Wow. So they combed your hair.
I know. Actually combed it.
They combed his hair, right? So that's a big thing, and of course, other reasons is the freedom to control your own domain.
Yeah, your own destiny.
You're controlling your destiny when you want to scale because, and this goes back to the cash flow quadrant. You ever hear of that?
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
You have the left side, the right side. The left side, you're an employee and all that, or self-employed.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a self-employed. Because you can't call yourself an entrepreneur if you're self-employed, technically, right? Because time is money. You want to be on the right side of the quadrant where, time is not money, right? You actually have the systems in place. You've scaled your business enough that it's an investment of your time, and that's it. And you're investing your time in things you want to do.
I mean, that was another epiphany this summer. I know this is like the episode of epiphanies that
Epiphany. Epiphany like a hot shot?
No, but over the summer, what was really cool is that, I took a trip to Chicago, and like a week before the trip, I decided I was going to extend it by, a day. Not a lot, but
Yeah.
the team, I just, I let them know. I said, by the way, not going to be in that day. You guys all have your assignments. The business ran while I was away.
There you go.
Not only the extra day, but the days I had planned off. And I'm like, I could actually do that. And like, to me, that made me feel really good because I felt confident. Yeah, I was on my phone,
I mean, you're
checking in.
You're checking on things, but the thing is, you're running it.
Yeah.
And then you're out there building your business and being a leader, right?
Yeah.
And being, and being the cheerleader team. So man, that is good. What an episode this is. Number 17. I think Kip Winger would be proud of us, right? Mr. 17 himself.
I love it.
So yeah, so why don't you, check us out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and if you want to see our Italian faces, YouTube, Market Like a Hot Shot, marketlikeahotshot.com. And definitely, like I said, the cold weather's coming here, especially up here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Market Like a Hot Shot hoodie. What do you think?
I love it.
All right. Well, have a good day, Mr. Feudo. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. Market Like a Hot Shot.